please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Clerk, would you please call the roll and read the announcement?
November 22nd, 2016. Please be advised this meeting is being taped for video and audio broadcast. Assisted listening devices are available. Mr. Bonifant.
Here.
Mr. Corsello.
Here.
Mr. Hempstead.
Here.
Mr. Kimmel.
Here.
Mr. Sacchinelli.
Here.
Ms. Melendez.
Here.
Mr. Sarasis.
Here.
Ms. Bowman.
Here.
Mr. Sims. Mr. Kites.
Here.
Ms. Maggio.
Present.
Mr. De Palma.
Here.
Ms. O'Toole-Jindurko.
Here.
Mr. Igneri.
Here.
Mr. Livingston. 13 present.
13 present. We have a quorum. Next item on the agenda is the acceptance of the minutes of the regular meeting of October 25th, 2016.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Igneri. Any corrections, deletions, or additions? Mr. Sarasis.
On page 8 at the top, I didn't have the benefit of looking at the video because I'm the one that wanted it moved to this meeting. But to give perspective to what we were talking about, at the top of the page it says 80% of the acquisitions are friendly. Right before that, Mr. Igneri had made a comment saying that the agreement was just a renewable 10-year agreement, upon which Mr. Wright from the state responded that it was not a renewal, but it was a brand new agreement, 10-year agreement. It had nothing to do with the renewal. So I think that belongs there somewhere, just to give perspective that it's a new thing and not a renewal. And when we got to the part where it says Mr. Sarasis said he was concerned about the 20% who were unhappy, blah, 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 by the Common Council, Mr. Coppola added after that he attended a seminar the week before, and that the 20% that were not happy, the majority of which were not happy with the price they were getting for their property. So I think that should be entered into the record as well, to give perspective on what the conversation was. Thank you.
Thank you. Did you get that? Okay. Any further corrections, deletions, or additions?
We're talking about the 25th?
25th.
October.
Yeah.
The roll call, we don't have Mr. Hempstead anywhere. And he was here.
Was Mr. Hempstead, you were...
He opened it.
Okay, so...
Big target on this.
We missed it.
But I don't remember what happened.
Okay, we added Mr. Hempstead as a councilman at large present. Any further
I remember what I knew.
additions, corrections, deletions?
I was at that meeting.
Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? So carried. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of November 8th, 2016. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Igneri moves. Any corrections, additions, deletions? Mr. De Palma.
It said I was at this meeting. It says I was absent.
Okay, so you were present at the meeting?
Yeah. It references 13 council members were there, but then it says 3 and then 2. Says
Okay.
Me too.
So under D,
I was here too.
it
I
has
just
you.
want to be part of the party.
It does have you.
It does have you.
You were here in October. Oh, I was on the other one. No, I was absent on the other one that I said that I was looking at the wrong one, and I was absent on the other one.
Were you at the other one?
Yes. It has me absent, and yes, I was here.
Okay, so on October 25th, you were here.
Yes.
Okay, you'd like to make a motion to open that again?
Sorry. I really don't care. It doesn't matter.
Okay,
You don't have
we'll
to
add
show
that
it.
as well. Okay, any other corrections, additions, deletions for the November 8th minutes? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is public participation. Ms. King?
Vic Palladino?
Caught me off guard. I thought there was somebody in front of me there. In any event, hello, Mr. Mayor, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Vic Palladino. For better or for worse, a lifelong Norwalk resident. My family is, this may sound a little bit discourse, but I was told by this gentleman I am at the right meeting. My family has owned property on the corner of Water Street and Hanford Place since 1951, which is approximately 65 years. I'm here tonight to voice my original concerns about the overall Day Street and Washington Street project, but more importantly, to get my concerns on the public record. My primary concerns relate to the possible effects that the project, and most importantly, the raising of the intersection at Raymond and Day Streets would have on flooding to properties in the surrounding affected areas, of which my property would be one. I would like to note at this, flooding that results from excessive rainfall and unusual high tides is, as everyone already knows, a fairly common occurrence on Water Street, and is a reason for some of my concern. However, of a far greater concern and impact is flooding that results from the arrival of future hurricanes whenever King Neptune decides to come calling. Although street flooding and hurricanes are very unpredictable and never the same, the overall concern is in all of these instances is where the volume of water displaced by the elevation of Raymond and Day Streets intersecting along with the declining slopes of the intersecting roads, coupled with the construction of significant sized buildings, go. Where does this water go and end up? I would like to note at this time that prior to this meeting, I stopped by at the City Hall twice without any appointments to ask questions about this project and address my concerns previously mentioned. All of the people that I came into contact with were both most gracious and helpful. I would be remiss if I did not mention three of them, all of whom sat down with me for various lengths of time to answer my questions. They are Mr. Bruce Cimento, Ms. Lisa Burns, and Ms. Marisa Diaz, who showed and discussed the plans with me, actual plan drawings. I was told that all of the various agencies involved, such as FEMA, the EPA, and HUD, had reviewed and approved the overall project plan with a discerning eye to ensure that surrounding properties would not be adversely affected. I repeat, not adversely affected. In closing, I hope and trust that this most important and admirable objective is both realistic and factual, now and in the future, for this and all other redevelopment projects for property owners in the affected areas. I thank you for your time and allowing me to speak, and look forward to seeing the successful culmination of this project that will provide benefits to the city and its residents as a whole, and hopefully to my brothers and myself as adjacent property owners. With that being said, I wish everybody a great Thanksgiving, and thanks again, and hopefully everything goes well.
Thank you, Mr. Palladino.
Cesar Ramirez.
Mr. Ramirez?
Good evening. My name is Cesar Ramirez. I'm here today. My position will be as a commissioner and chair of the Norwalk Housing Authority. Distinguished Mr. Mayor Harry W. Rilling and respectable members of the Common Council of this great city of Norwalk of Connecticut. In behalf of the Norwalk Housing, the staff and the commissioners, and on behalf of our South Norwalk community, We would like to say thank you to every one of you for your strong support, for the long hours, and then to see the new endeavor that will be taking place for the approval of the Washington Village project. It has been my concern all along, and I do believe, I always believe that this project will be taking place. I really want to say thank you to every one of you. Mr. Mayor, thank you for believing in this project. And our community, sincerely, we all will appreciate it. And you will make a difference, a strong difference in a lot of people's lives. You will enhance the quality of life in our residents of Washington Village and the entire community of the South Norwalk. God bless you. Have a very happy holidays. Remember, Monday the 28th, November 28, 2016, every one of you is invited for the breaking in this beautiful project in Washington Village, 13 Day Street. I will expect to see every one of you. God bless everyone. Good night, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Ramirez. There's nobody else has signed up to speak to the council. Is there anybody that wishes to speak? Ms. Cece?
Good evening, everybody. For the record, Diane Cece, 37 Olmsted Place in Norwalk. I actually wasn't going to speak tonight. Instead, I sent a rather lengthy, impassioned email to the full council, but I just found out when I got here tonight that some or many of you did not receive the email for some reason. But I'm speaking to item 7D1 under Ordinance Committee, approving the proposed revisions to Chapter 96 in the Code. And what I said in the email essentially was asking you to consider tabling this item either to the December meeting or possibly sending it back to committee for a few reasons, and I'll be brief. The first one is the description that's here is cryptic and vague and doesn't really lead the public to understand what it is that you're about to discuss or possibly take action on. The title of the chapter is accurate, and it makes mention of excavations and encroachments in public streets and grounds. However, the real topic that you're discussing is under what conditions police extra duty work would be assigned when these jobs are taking place. The general public wouldn't have any idea from this description that that's what you're about to vote on tonight. Also, when you go to the backup in your material, the only backup that's there doesn't even include an explanation from the committee. Rather, it's just a one-page document. I think it's the last page in your packet that simply underscores the differences in the language in the actual code itself, which is very confusing to the public at large. It doesn't really give me an understanding of where these streets are that you're referring to that would require extra duty police work, so I don't know the scope of what this change would mean. And I also, when I went back and looked at minutes from the Ordinance Committee, I can see that there were several iterations of how this was drafted in terms of the wording, and it only became more confusing to me. I also want to say that there's been apparently some discussion on whether or not this change would be cost neutral, and I'm not convinced of that at this point. And I wish somebody could actually just kind of lay out the math and show that to me. So given those questions, the ambiguity and vagueness and cryptic nature of what you have on the agenda, I think, again, in my email I said it probably rises to the letter of the law with freedom of information in this agenda, but it wouldn't comply with the spirit of the law to engage the public and make sure they're apprised of the business before you. So I thank you all. I hope you'll consider tabling it, and I also wish you all a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Ms. Cece. Is there anybody else who wishes to address the council? Seeing none, I'll close the public participation session. Next item on the agenda, there are no resignations, appointments, or reappointments. Under Mayor's remarks, My first order of business, I would like to take this opportunity to introduce to you my new assistant, Leisha King. Leisha, if you will step up and say hello and tell a little bit about yourself and your background.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, council members. I think that I've met most of you, but I'll give you a real quick background of who I am and what my experience is. As many of you know, I grew up right down the street in Saugatuck, right over the line from Norwalk. I am an attorney. I went to law school out in Colorado. I lived there for about 10 years. Practiced law for 5 years after law school, prosecuting child abuse and neglect cases for the city and county of Denver. Came back here in 2005 and went to work for the city of New Haven, first in the Office of Corporation Counsel, and then later in the mayor's office as the deputy chief of staff. In that position, I ran the city's legislative program up in Hartford and also down in D.C., and also led many of the major projects that came out of the mayor's office. One of those that I was particularly involved in had to do with a school reform effort that was happening in New Haven at the time. So I was very involved in that effort and later moved over to the Board of Ed to help roll that initiative out. And my role there was to really engage with the community, to interact with parents, with funders, with legislators, and other stakeholders to really figure out how we could come together as a community to achieve this goal. So spent a lot of time really working with stakeholders and bringing everyone together. From there, I moved on to United Way, where I've been for the last 5 years, running United Way's education work in the greater New Haven area. So I'm really excited to have come on board, to be working with the mayor and with the department heads in the city. I've been here for about a week, and I can just say I am so impressed. I've had a lot of interactions, of course, with New Haven, but with many other municipalities around the state over the past 10 years. And this staff here at the city is exceptional. I'm blown away with the amount of work that many of the departments are operating with much smaller staffs than other cities have, and I've just been really impressed in the week that I'm here in terms of the caliber of the employees and the scope of what they're dealing with. So I'm really excited to be working with them, to be working with you, and with all of our constituents.
Thank you, Leisha. Welcome. Just don't spread the word that most of the people are working with smaller staffs. They're going to want larger staffs. Next item on the agenda, Stuart Wells, the Registrar of Voters, has provided for you a detailed sheet of the last election. He's put it there for your edification. If you have any questions or you want to discuss it with Stuart, I'm sure he'll make himself available to you. Last item on the agenda, my comments, I'm sorry. As I want to take this opportunity to thank the council for their hard work during the past year, to wish the council and to wish all the members of the community here and throughout the city of Norwalk a very, very happy and healthy Thanksgiving. You know, this is a time of year when it's traditional to say thank you and to be happy for all the things we have, not to complain about the things we don't have, but just to take focus of all the wonderful things that we have. And while we're doing that, I would ask everyone to please keep in mind that right here in Norwalk, throughout Connecticut, across the nation, there are many, many people, especially young people, who don't have the abundance of things that we have. They maybe wake up hungry, go to sleep hungry, and especially our young children who may not be able to perform as well in school because of that. So it's at this time of the year that as we're being thankful for what we have, that we should reach out and help others in any way that we possibly can. But more importantly, we should be doing that all the time, not just around Thanksgiving, not just around the seasonal holidays, but whenever we have an opportunity, it's incumbent upon us to reach out, help those who are perhaps disenfranchised, perhaps don't have the kinds of things that we have. And to that end, I always like to give the example of Ernie Dumas, an advocate for the community, who every Thanksgiving morning deep fries probably 30 to 40 or more turkeys, and has all the fixings down at the South Norwalk Community Center, and gives people who, the homeless people and other people who wouldn't normally have a Thanksgiving dinner. He feeds them, never asks for anything in return. He just does it out of the goodness of his heart. And if you really want to see an amazing day, I would invite you to go down there and watch his production. I call it a production because he's got a lot of people that go down and help. Some of the people right here at the council table goes down and helps Ernie prepare his Thanksgiving dinner. And so many people in the community are grateful. And again, so many people in the community would not have a Thanksgiving dinner if it wasn't for Ernie. So again, I wish everybody the happiest of Thanksgivings and enjoy. So having said that, Mr. Kimmel.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As the mayor indicated, we're completing the first year of the two-year term. And before the meeting, and this, of course, will be my last meeting as council chair, and I want to thank you all for your patience and cooperation. But before this meeting, I was thinking back to some of the highlights, at least for me, that some of the things we accomplished during the first year in office. And sometimes we get bogged down in the details of what's right in front of us. We forget how much we truly did. And it was a good year, as the mayor indicated. And first of all, let's not forget the difficult budget season we had last year. And I think we came through it. We handled it quite well. The operating budget we adopted had probably the lowest tax increase in a number of years. We were able to fully fund the Board of Ed. We collaborated with the Board of Ed on providing funds so they could begin the transformation of their special education programs. We approved in our capital budget in addition a special $3 million, an extra $3 million to enable them to begin the facilities transformation of their schools, which they're in the process of doing right now. And it's important to also note that we also increased senior tax relief for the last 2 years, and we are in the process of completing another raising the senior tax relief once again. It'll be the third time running. And this appears, you see the last part of the process is the easiest for us. What many of you don't see is it takes 2 or 3, possibly more meetings of the Finance Committee to work out these relief programs, and from there it has to go to ordinance. It's not simple. And I want to commend the members of both the Finance Committee and the Ordinance Committee. I want to mention something also that I think Mayor Rilling probably forgot. During the 2000 election campaign early on, occasionally, Harry and I bumped into each other when we were out campaigning. And one of the first discussions we had was the need to really look at senior tax relief. And that's one thing we have done every single year. And we plan to make it a yearly endeavor. And hopefully we'll make it so that our seniors can live comfortably and remain in Norwalk. There's also been a lot going on vis-a-vis our development projects and our redevelopment projects. Early on, we put the final touches onto the Sono collection. It's now before zoning, and I'm glad to see that moving forward. Washington Village, after a 2-year, I don't know what to call it, 2 years when nothing happened, really, is moving along. There are several items on board now on our agenda tonight, which will allow us to begin funding, moving forward with the infrastructure improvements, which will allow Trinity to begin raising money for the project. We approved the expanded TOD plan, which I think is extremely important. There's been some steady progress here and there on Wall Street. Some things are moving rather quickly. Some things have slowed down. At least we know that the bank is committed to the POCO project, and we hope to see that begin to move forward again. And I don't want to forget the opening of the ice rink. I find that a little bit symbolic. I mean, it's a great project, but I've always wondered about how does a community like Norwalk deal with activities, winter activities? How do we make our parks fun places to go to in the middle of winter? And this is maybe a first step, and hopefully we can figure out some more things that keep it interesting. Finally, on the walk bridge, we've been worried about that. council took the initial step hiring outside Halloran and Sage, outside counsel to help us along with that. We've worked closely with those that have been impacted directly by the project, and I think the city as a whole, as well as the council and our various departments and residents, I think last week at the public hearing, I think we did make a good impression. We're a united city when it comes to the walk bridge. We have some small differences, but I think the state heard us loud and clear, and I want to congratulate everybody who put that together, particularly the Corporation Counsel's office. Okay, finally, to the council, I commend you. You did a great job. Almost all of the discussions were civil. I hope we can move forward in the coming year and achieve just about as much, if not more. Second order of business, I'd like to, first of all, announce it's Mr. Bonifant's birthday this very moment. I won't reveal his age. It's less than mine. How much I can say.
More than mine.
Okay, and I guess if Michelle says so, it's more than Michelle's. Okay. Now I'd like to announce though the new minority leader will be Michelle Maggio the coming year, and our majority leader will continue to be John Kites. I'm looking forward to a great year with a lot of communication back and forth. And the last item on my agenda tonight is to the election of a new council president. And for that, I will turn the floor back over to the mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kimmel. I would also like to say thank you for your leadership as council president during the past year. You did a remarkable job of bringing things together and bringing things to the table and working hard on the agenda and the leadership meetings that we had and working closely with me on appointments and other things. And so I truly appreciate all that you did do during the past year, and thank you very much, and I think you deserve a round of applause. So as Mr. Kimmel said, the next item on the agenda is the election of the council president. Do I have any nominations? Ms. Melendez.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Before I make my nomination, I also would like to thank Mr. Kimmel for his leadership this past year and, of course, for making us all read the consent calendar.
Making us all?
Just, everyone has to practice their reading every once in a while. I'd like to nominate Councilman Igneri. Councilman Igneri has served on the council for the last 5 years, and I've had really the distinct honor of serving with him the last 3 years. And I've honestly learned a lot of different things from him. And when I think of him, I think of someone who's extremely level-headed, he's fair. He may represent District E, but he's extremely committed to Norwalk. And I know that if he is elected council president, he will represent all of our views, our opinions, our positions. And I really would like to urge the rest of my colleagues to support him.
Thank you, Ms. Melendez. Do we have any other further nominations? Mr. Hempstead.
No nominations.
Pardon me?
No nominations. I was just going to speak.
Oh, would you like to speak on the nomination? Mr. Hempstead.
I'm sorry. I've been serving with Mr. Igneri for the last 5 years. We have differences that everybody does, but he's always been a gentleman. And I've never seen him raise his voice either, which is says a lot. But you also know when he's not quite in agreement with something. So I think John is a good choice for the leadership in this role. I certainly is a lot calmer type of person and brings that personality there. And I also just want to thank General Fudron-Dirkum, has been our minority leader for the last year. The great job she's done.
Thank you. Great job.
While having a baby.
Thank you.
While having a baby.
While having a baby.
While having a baby.
Now maybe she can.
Thank you, Mr. Hempstead. Any other comments regarding the nomination? Mr. Bonifant.
Yes, thanks. And I'm also going to use the opportunity to do what Mr. Hempstead said. But I'm happy to support John Igneri. We get along fine. He has level-headed, even mind, and very understanding. I just want to thank Shannon and John Kites for their work in the year as minority and majority leader. And Mr. Kimmel, thank you for your service. We don't always agree, but you always conducted yourself as a gentleman, and I appreciate the dialogue that we have. Okay? So good luck if you get it, John.
Any further discussion? Mr. Kites.
Chime in with this love fest. I also want to thank Shannon. It's been a pleasure working with you. We worked together great. You went through so much, but you never dropped the ball once. You were there when we needed to talk, and we got things done. I think we worked together well. And Mr. Kimmel, I want to thank you, too. You've been very helpful to me and many others in the council. You provided us with solutions and options when no one else could find any. So thank you very much. And Mr. Igneri, as you know, one of my closest friends, man of your word. It's a little uncomfortable saying this with you this close to me, but you have my full support for Council President.
For Ms. O'Toole, Durko.
Thank you. To John and Bruce, thank you very much, and to the mayor as well. It was a pleasure to work with you guys. We got a lot done, and thank you for being flexible with my work schedule and delivery. So I appreciate that. To Mr. Igneri, absolutely, you have my support, and I look forward to working with you. It's been a great 3 years so far, so keep going.
Further discussion? Okay, any further nominations? No, we don't have a secretary that can cast the ballot, so nominations are closed. All in favor of Mr. Igneri as council president?
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? One opposition, any abstentions?
Opposed.
Okay, motion carries. Congratulations. Whoop. Congratulations, Mr. Igneri.
Even get to change seats.
Right.
Take your name.
And someone to take your name.
Yeah. Now back to the council president, Mr. Igneri.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank everyone here at this council table for their support. I'm honored to serve as your council president, and I look forward to working with everyone around this council table, including the mayor, over my new role. I would also like to thank Councilman Kimmel for his service over the past year. It's been spectacular. In particular, I applaud his innovation of rotating the reading of the consent calendar. I intend to continue that practice starting now. Interestingly, I'm supposed to read the consent calendar tonight, but as council president, I can pass. So I'm passing. Since my name starts with I, the next person in line is Mr. Kimmel. I asked Mr. Kimmel to read the consent calendar tonight.
Can't write stuff like this.
But before turning it over to Bruce, I would like to mention some of my goals for the next year. And interestingly, we didn't talk about this, but many of the goals are a continuation of what we did last year. I'd like to continue to keep the city moving forward with modest tax increases as we've had the past few years. I'd like to continue promoting smart development as we have done with Waypoint, Head of the Harbor, the Pearl, and not to be forgotten, the exciting new mall. I'd like to continue to support progressive transit-oriented development and strengthen many of our unique neighborhoods. We'd also like to continue to foster the positive energy around our education system that we've done over the last year and work towards better facilities in the schools. Lastly, the walk bridge. I thought it was a great turnout last week. We all got our points across, and the DOT has actually called the DPW and said they thought we made some very strong points. They have to listen to us, and we're now in the process of packaging those comments and to send to the state. So, thank you. I look forward to working on all these things. With that, the floor is yours, Mr. Kimmel.
Thank you and congratulations. Okay, it's been a while. The consent calendar. Item 7A1 on the Recreation, Parks, and Cultural Affairs Committee authorized the mayor, Harry Rilling, to enter into an agreement with the Exchange Club of Norwalk, Connecticut, to contract for the park and Camp Pastor Beach, Shady Beach, Marvin School, Taylor Farm for the annual Norwalk International In-Water Boat Show to take place Thursday, September 21st, 2017, through Sunday, September 24th, 2017, for a sum not to exceed $4,500. The account is noted. Item 7A2, authorize Mayor Rillen to enter an agreement with the Connecticut Valley Region Porsche Club of America for the use of Cranberry Park and Pavilion 1 for the annual summer concours to be held Sunday, June 18th, 2017, from 6:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. Estimated attendance 125. Number 3, under Parks and Recs, authorize Mayor Rilling to enter into agreement with NICE Inc. for the use of Oyster Shell Park for the annual NICE The Nice Festival to be held Sunday, July 8th, 2017, from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Set up to take place Friday, July 7th, 6:30 a.m., with a teardown no later than 12 noon Monday, July 10th, 2017. Estimated attendance 4,000. Item 4 under Parks and Recs, authorize the Mayor Rillen to enter an agreement with the Exchange Club of Norwalk, Connecticut for the use of Taylor Farm for their annual car show to be held Sunday, April 30th from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Set up to take place Saturday, April 29th at 12 noon with teardown no later than 12 noon on Monday. Rain date Sunday, May 7th, 2017. Estimated attendance 1,000. Item 5. Under Parks and Recs, authorize the Mayor, Harry Rilling, to enter into an agreement with the Norwalk Karting Association for the use of Calf Pasture Beach for the spring and fall 2017 season to be held on the following dates from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Spring 2017, March 18th, 25th, April 1, 8th, 15th, 22nd, May 6th, and 13th. Fall 2017, September 16th and 30th, October 7, 14, 21, and 28, November 4, 11, and 18. If rain on Saturday, Sunday may be available. Estimated attendance 100 plus. Items 6 under Parks and Recs. Authorize Mayor Rillen to enter an agreement with the Color Vibe 5K for the use of Veterans Park Saturday, April 8th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Set up to take place Friday, April 7th, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. with the teardown no later than 12 noon on Sunday, April 9th. Estimated attendance 2,500. Item 7, authorize the Director of Recreation and Parks to increase the change order on project number 3692, Flax Hill Park Utility Improvements, for $4,280 to a sum not to exceed $13,265 for additional removal of debris and additional paving. The account numbers are noted. Item 8 under Parks and Recs, authorize Mayor Rilling to enter an agreement with the Pro-Built Design LLC for project 3659 INA Clark Community Garden, San Vincento Place, for a sum not to exceed $97,200. And accounts, it's from a state DEP grant. Okay. Under Finance Committee, 7B1, accept and approve the report of the Claims Committee dated November 10th, 2016. Item 2 under Finance, for informational purposes, narrative on tax collections dated November 8th, 2016. Item under Finance, Item 3, for informational purposes, monthly tax collectors report dated October 31st, 2016. Under Planning, Item C2, reapprove the West Avenue Corridor redevelopment plan for a period of 18 months. Item C3 under Planning, reapprove Washington South Main redevelopment plan for a period of 18 months. And that is the consent calendar, Mr. President.
Does anyone have any changes or additions? If hearing none, all in favor of the consent calendar as read? Oops. Unanimous? With that, Mr. Mayor, I turn the meeting back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Igneri. Okay, item 7B4, Mr. Kimmel.
Okay. It's circumstances, not my personality, folks. Okay, I would like to move, if possible, they're connected, 7B4 and 7B5 together, provide a little bit of background. And once we complete those two items, I would also like to suspend the rules for an item directly related to those two items, if that's okay with the body. Item 4, under Finance. Authorize Mayor Harry Rilling to execute an assistance agreement with the State of Connecticut Department of Housing for the grant of $4 million, CDBG-DRs for disaster recovery, funding for the raising of Raymond and Day Streets in connection with the Washington Village Choice Neighborhood Improvement Projects. And item 5 is a resolution approving a special capital appropriation in the amount of $3,950,000 to fund Day and Raymond Street public improvement component of the Choice Neighborhood Project with the accounts listed, and authorizing the issuance of $3,450,000 general obligation bonds of the city to meet the appropriation. So I'd like to move 4 and 5 together, and I'd like to briefly speak to them. Thank you.
Mr. Kimmel.
Okay. The item number 4 is basically we are executing agreements with the state. In December 2014, we received a $3 million grant from the State Department of Housing. That was federal money, which came through the state. Last June 16th, we received an additional $1 million from the Department of Housing, which totals the $4 million, 2 separate grants. The resolution approved the second item, the $3,950,000 for Fund Day and Ray Street. I should point out we're bonding $500,000 less because Trinity is going to reimburse the city for all the sidewalk improvements around 20 and 13 Day Street. There was already money we approved in 15-16 and 16-17 for the infrastructure improvements, $1.3 million we already approved in 15-16 and $0.25 million 16-17. So right now we have in the bank rearing to go $1.55 million. When we get all of this in order with the reimbursement from Trinity, have that. Once all of those commitments are made, it means we can begin to move forward with the infrastructure work for this crucial project. But it also means that Trinity can begin. It needs to have this funding in place for it to begin to raise its own to deal with its own finances for the project. The cost of the project has gone up somewhat because of the 2-year delay. There's been some changes in technology and other things that relate to infrastructure. And so we're talking now about a $140 million project. And believe me, it's important, and this part of the city will be much different when we are done. So I'd like to I've moved those 2 items. We have some folks from the Finance Department, from our Law Department, and also from the Housing Authority to answer any of your questions regarding these 2 items. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kimmel. Any discussion? Ms. O'Toole-Giandirko.
I just wanted to say thank you to all the staff that came to the committee meeting, because I don't know if I was on the council when the lawsuit started. I believe so. It was a good opportunity to get some history. We asked a lot of questions at the committee level, and everybody had information available for us, so I really appreciate that. My questions were all addressed at committee level, but it was a fruitful discussion, so thank you to everybody.
Further discussion? Mr. Hempstead.
Finally, because this started with Project Hope, I think, at first being addressed. That's correct. All right, and that was probably a good 7 to 8 years ago. The Reverend was the chairwoman at the time. It's morphed into several things, but even back then, I knew how much of a game changer this was going to be for that portion of Norwalk, and the importance of improving the quality of life in South Norwalk, the quality of life of people who are presently in Washington Village, who are going to be able to hopefully move back into the new Washington Village. And I also applaud every council that this has come before and kept the motion moving forward on it. Parties have switched, majorities have switched, mayors have switched. But everybody from day one has been committed to this project in the city of Norwalk. I know it's somewhat more money than we initially anticipated by the city putting in, but I still think the results, considering all the money coming in from the state, the feds, and the private group, is certainly going to offset the improvements that this is going to provide. Because it's not just the people there, but it's also the businesses and everything else that's going to make South Norwalk a super place. I just had 2 quick questions. I'm sorry, and it might even be a nod, Diane. the original contract, when the city gave over the property on Day Street and that, had a kicker in it that if the project wasn't done by a certain date, after they went down a certain path, the property reverted back to the city. Is that still in place? I think it was 5 years. They had 5 years at a certain point to do X and another 5 years to do Y or something like that.
They had to exercise the option within a period
You're right.
or within that window.
So we're done.
Exercising of it.
Okay. So that, I'm sorry.
You want
Okay.
me to just get that on the record?
Yes, please.
In the option agreement, there was a specific period in time so that the concern on the council's end was that this ability to exercise the option agreement wasn't just floating out there for an unidentified period in time. So it was capped at within a number of years, and they are exercising that option within the time frame that was allotted.
All right, and the only other question, Mr. Palladino asked a question. I'm assuming, and that's always the wrong thing to do, but if this is in a floodplain or floodway, I'm assuming it's already had, I'm sure Army Corps even had a
yes.
So, and that was my understanding. So it was just an affirmation that's been from the Army Corps.
Actually, I'd like to respond to the specific concern, and just to alleviate the concern. Connecticut DEEP, the Department of Environmental and Energy Protection, actually reaches out to all of the entities that would have review of this project, because they ultimately have to make a finding that there's no negative impact that would be brought to bear either on the area or specific properties as a result of the project, and they have made that finding.
Just another compliment as I get up there, because I know this has been, through redevelopment agency also had to put a lot of time and effort in this over the years, but the stuck-to-itiveness between the housing authority and everybody else. I mean, it didn't happen just by us or just by one mayor. It happened by a collaborative, cooperative, and collective effort by a lot of city agencies and the state of Connecticut on this too. So,
and the city department has been
everybody.
fantastic.
Now just get it built.
Corporation Council, everybody. So,
thank you. Mr. Kimmel.
Yeah, just one small point. You know, I referred to the 2-year delay, which did create all kinds of pressures on various city departments. And you're absolutely right. All of the city folks who were involved in this in a very short period of time was able to make up a lot of ground quickly and to move this project along, because the $30 million Choice Neighborhood Grant wasn't going to last forever. And we lost those 2 precious years. So they have done a miraculous job to get us to this point so early. It's going to make it a lot easier for Trinity to raise the necessary funds needed to really move this project forward. Thank you.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion by Mr. Kimmel?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Mr. Kites. Oh, no, Mr. Kimmel, I'm sorry.
Yes, I would like to make a motion to suspend the rules to add to the agenda an item that deals with the property transfers 30 and 20 Day Street, directly related to the 2 items we just addressed. So a motion to suspend the rules.
Okay, Mr. Kimball's made a motion to suspend the rules. All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? So carried. Mr. Kimmel.
Okay. The item is to authorize Mayor Harry W. Rilling to execute any documents, including quitclaim deeds, quitclaims deeds needed to transfer the City of Norwalk's interest in property located at 30 and 20 Day Streets to the Norwalk Housing Authority for the purpose of inclusion in the Washington Village Housing Redevelopment Project. So I'd like to move the item, and just to comment briefly, my understanding from Attorney Belts-Jacobson for the city is that this is a requirement will enable Trinity again to move forward with its financing, and it's just another piece of the puzzle that we have to get in place as quickly as possible, and she is here for any questions.
This is actually, Councilman Hempstead, when you asked about exercising the option, this is what the option.
Okay, that's considered exercising. Okay, good, thanks.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion by Mr. Kimmel? Opposed? Carries unanimously. Thank you. Now, Mr. Kites.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Item 7C1, reapprove the Wall Street redevelopment plan for a period of 18 months. Basically, we're just reapproving this plan in order to update it. That and the two other items that were on the consent calendar below will be approved to extend it and as protocol not to allow them to expire. And during this 18 months, it will be updated. And I believe Mr. Sheehan is here for any questions.
Mr. Kites moved the item. Any discussion? Mr. Bonifant.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think I'm the one that asked to have that off the consent calendar. I just wanted to make a comment that tonight we approved another large housing project over on Washington Village over there, and there's a lot of projects going from Waypoint. And, well, we're looking at, and I understand that this is to buy the redevelopment agency some time to come up with finalize their next round of a plan. And I would just like to say that one of the biggest concerns I hear from the community is that possibly we're building too many apartments, and it's going to provide a lot of problems with infrastructure and school system and land to buy to purchase. So we have to build new schools, and there is a correlation between thousands and thousands of apartments and the need to build our police force, fire department, and school system. So as they go forward with their plans, I hope they keep that in mind, that it's not just building apartments for the sake of renting apartments, that there are people that go there and some people go to school. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bonifant. Mr. Sarasis.
Actually, being in that district and that being the district I represent, I agree with many of the points that Mr. Bonifant had just brought up, and I also think that because of those points he brought up that I'm not going to go over again, the council should seriously consider and redevelopment about the plan to put in a platform in Uptown, a train platform on the Danbury line, which has been discussed, and there are actually most of the businesses down in the Uptown area, Main and Wall, are pretty much like 90% behind it, and they've even crunched the numbers for us. And it sure seems like the smart thing to do if we're going to keep putting apartments in there, because those people want to hop on the train or walk to the train. And I even walk around and I ask people what they want, and people that live in the area. So that's something we should seriously take into consideration moving forward in the Uptown area with redevelopment. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sarasis. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion by Mr. Kites? Opposed? Abstentions? Carries unanimously. Thank you. Ms. Melendez.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Under the Ordinance Committee, approve proposed revisions to Chapter 96, excavations and encroachments in public streets and grounds. That's it?
I'm sorry, could...
Oh, I read it.
Yeah, are you moving it, or?
You're moving.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm moving it. Ordinance never comes to me.
Mr. Sacchinelli.
I'd like to speak to that item. I think the nature and content of that ordinance is moving in the right direction. However, due to numerous drafts and revisions, the language itself has become a bit muddied and ambiguous, and I think there's some room for clarity on the actual language of the drafting. In addition, we've worked hard to have Norwalk become a very business-friendly city, and I think there's some questions remaining regarding potential cost implications to the business owners and individual citizens in regards to this. And I think with that, I'd like to move this to be tabled and sent back to committee for further review.
Okay, Mr. Sacchinelli made a motion to table, which is not debatable. All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Opposed? 1, 2. Abstentions? And 2. So it's 9 in favor, 2 opposed, and 2 abstentions. Mr. Kimmel and Ms. Maggio voted no.
No.
And Mr. Sarasis and Ms. Bowman. Mr. Sarasis and Ms. Bowman voted to, they abstained, correct?
Yes.
The motion to table carries. Did you wish, is that to a specific date?
I think it's just back to committee. There's been
Back to
talks
committee.
about
Okay.
whether or not it would be the December meeting or the January meeting, because our December meeting falls on the same week as Christmas. So we'll figure it out.
Okay. That is all the business to come before the council. Mr. Hempstead.
Motion to adjourn?
There you go.
Wow.
I deferred to you today.
You have to say it. Wow. Happy Thanksgiving, too.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.